Hello there. Hi, my name is Bence Szelényi and welcome to the channel. I guess you're interested in this topic, so let's talk about Jung. No, you little shithead. It's not how we start a video. No, we say, owing to the delightfully amazing fact that you there who I already love have watched my previous videos, I'm certain that you desire to learn more about this wonderful fella that we can call Jung. So let's be a little serious. I mean, you don't have to be, you can even shit on the carpet, but I will be. This video will be the last how the hell can I f it up? Sorry. This video will be the last episode of my trilogy about Jung. Jung had so many interesting ideas about our psyche, about humanity, that throughout writing my previous scripts about Jung, I realized that we can discuss all of his great work in one video. That's why it's a trilogy and that's why it is the last episode. So, Jung. We have discussed so many things in my previous videos: collective unconscious, persona, cognitive functions, Freud and the sexually overheated mind, and a lot more. Check them out. Firstly, in this video, I would like to talk about Jung's personality model. What did Jung think about our mind's structure? So, in the center of our psyche, there is our ego. This is the center, our ego. Two things which are important about this term, ego. First, in the English-speaking public, ego has a negative connotation. It has a negative feeling to it. Someone who is egotistical is someone who is a bad person. In the Jungian term, it is not good or bad. It just is. And it is the center of your personality. Secondly, ego means something else in Freudian terms, so according to Freud. I'm gonna use ego as Jung used it. So, moving on. In the center, there is our ego. But what is our ego? What does it contain? Our ego is the container of three concepts. First, our general body image. It's logical. Our ego has information about our bodies. How long can we reach with our arms, our height, how many hours of sitting on the toilet watching shitty memes can our bottom endure, and all that kind of stuff. So our ego is partially a group of information about our bodies. The second concept our egos consist of is the awareness of our existence. It is what Descartes said, cogito ergo sum, I think therefore I am. So the ego also consists of the conscious awareness of our own existence. I hope you can follow me, don't worry, there will be a short break after that. And the last thing our egos contain is memories. Yes, that's simple. Memories. The center of your personality, your ego, must contain a bunch of memories about yourself and about your past. Because your memories are partially what makes you, well, you. Your memories are important. This is the last thing your ego contains. And here's your well-deserved break. Just chill and enjoy this collage of cats. Okay, so we have discussed only the center of Jung's personality model, and there are three other, so I'm not really good at this, but you have to settle for me. The discussion of the other three will be much easier, I think. So, surrounding our ego, there are our personas, which we have discussed in my previous video, so check it out if you haven't seen it. So, surrounding our egos and our personas, there is our ideal self. What we want to be, what we desire to become. Like, I want to be a 2-meter long basketball player who can easily dunk and casually do a double backflip while flirting with your lovely and amazingly kind mom. Well, this desired image is in the circle. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! This whole sentence was so hard that jeez. And in the last circle, there is the environment. It is basically not us, it is not our personality, but it affects our personality, so Jung inserted this concept into his personality model. And the last important thing which we have to mention regarding this model is that this whole system can be divided into two parts, the unconscious and the conscious part. The unconscious means the collective and personal unconscious. The personal unconscious is what generally known as the unconscious. If someone says that I'm unconsciously attracted to damaged man, they mean the personal unconscious. But the collective unconscious is a bunch of information about our existence, about our culture, about humanity, inherited from our ancestors. But we have discussed the collective unconscious in my previous video, so check it out if you haven't seen it. I just realized that in at least 50% of this video, I'm telling you to go watch my previous video, so by the way, you don't have to. I think it's just easier for you to understand what I'm talking about if you are familiar with these concepts. So moving on. So this whole system is called the self. Our self is the whole system with every single circle and part, and with the conscious and unconscious parts. But there is one other concept that exists in all of us, in all of ourselves, which is our shadow. Spooky, right? Shadow. What can our shadow be? According to Jungian terminology, so according to Jung, a shadow is either an unconscious aspect of the personality that the conscious ego does not identify in itself, or the entirety of the unconscious. Stay with me. This definition implies that there are two other definitions of the shadow. The bigger and simpler definition is that it is, as the sentence says, it is everything of the unknown in our psyche. Everything that is not conscious. Basically, it is our whole unconscious. But I will try to show you what the shadow really is according to Jung. Jung thought that the shadow is the entirety of unacceptable impulses and personality traits for our ego in our unconscious. For our ego, these impulses and traits and unacceptable repulsive stuff are something that it does not want to be associated with. Everybody knows that everybody has good and bad qualities. These bad qualities exist in all of us. Well, a big part of our negative qualities that our ego doesn't want to notice exists in our unconscious that we can call our shadow. Our egos try to stay away from these impulses, these traits, these repulsive stuff because they are too unfamiliar, therefore too scary. Hi there. Hi. No, not you. I'm not talking to you. I don't want to say anything. At least just look at me. No. You are too scary. You're a big bear with 10 horns and 10 tentacles and at least 10 heads. You didn't even look at me. How the hell did you know that I'm that scary and that bad? Well, that's what I've been told. Just look at me, come on. No. Yes. No. Yes. No. Please. No. Please. Okay. Ah! You're hairy! So the ego doesn't want to connect with the shadow, but the shadow is not necessarily bad. For example, a criminal shadow can be an empathic trait, a trait of good deeds which is repressed. These shadows we often project onto someone else or onto the environment. For example, in the case of an allegedly hetero man who represses his inner homosexual desires can often be a homophobe because he projects his inner, personally not accepted homosexuality onto others. What can we do about our shadow parts? Well, as you could already guess, we could face them. Firstly, just get to know them. Be familiar with their existence. These shadows often come up in our dreams because it is a defensive mechanism. With this technique, dreaming about our shadows, the big frustration caused by the unknown shadows and their immense power can be channeled somehow. Of course, in cases it's not enough, you have to face them. Archetypes, man! Archetypes. Let's talk about archetypes. In our Western societies, a lot of people have already heard about this term, archetype, but I'm not sure that everybody can get a good grasp of what they really are. Some famous psychologists and social figures such as Jordan B. Peterson talk a lot about them, because Jung discovered a really deep concept that our unconscious psyche uses to navigate us in life. And Jordan Peterson makes an emphasis geniusly on this wonderfully mysterious concept that we can call archetype. What is an archetype? Archetypes are defined as primal symbols and images that derive from the collective unconscious as proposed by Carl Jung. So archetypes are parts of the collective unconscious. The collective unconscious, which we have discussed in my previous videos, which we have discussed even in this video, in the first part of this video, so check it out if you don't know what's what, or I don't know. Archetypes are basically symbols and inherited knowledge about a specifically important thing. Why the collective unconscious is a broad thing, it's not specific. An archetype is a specific unconscious knowledge inherited from our ancestors about a specific important concept regarding life. So, for example, there is the hero archetype. There exists a representation of a hero in our minds which was inherited and thus provides information about the concept of a hero. But an archetype, while it is more specific than the whole collective unconscious, it is not as specific as an archetypal image. For every human being, there exists a hero archetype in our minds, but for every human being, the specific representation of a hero is different and individually shaped. So it's unique. For example, there is the hero archetype. It is universal. Everybody thinks that heroes are brave, they have a good heart, and they're responsible. You think that because you have an innate representation of a hero. You don't think that a hero is weak because the archetype does not contain this feature. But in every single person, this archetype is individualized. That is an archetypal image. For example, in one person a hero can be associated with Spider-Man, in other Superman, in others their dads, in me, my friend who was brave enough in first grade in school to fart in a bottle, then close the bottle, then ran to his classmate and made him smell his fart. It was his one and only detention. And here I need to mention anime and animus, just because they are something that perhaps a lot of you have already heard about, but you have no idea what they are. Animus is the unconscious masculine side of a woman, and anime is the unconscious feminine side of a man. Basically, animus is the unconscious representation of a man and man's characteristics, and anime is the unconscious representation of a woman and woman's characteristics. So female and male archetypes. The more you know. And finally, I would like to talk a little about personal growth. According to Jung, the goal regarding personal growth is to actualize ourselves, not selves, our inner, deeper, best self there is. But the self is unconscious, so it is hard to get in touch with it. How can we be our best versions? How can we actualize ourselves? Well, first we need to access and use all of the 4 main cognitive functions. We have discussed these 4 functions in my previous video, so check it out. Accessing all of these 4 functions, sensation, intuition, feeling, and thinking, is a lifelong journey, a lifelong process. Nobody is born to be able to use all of these functions. If you want to be the best version of yourself, then it is your duty to get to know all of these 4 cognitive functions one by one not at the same time, one by one, so you can connect to the world to the fullest. But you also need to face a bunch of normative crises which are often connected to complexes. We have also talked about complexes a lot in my first video about Jung. There are normative hard situations when you have to face a crisis connected to a complex. But if you manage to resolve this situation, you will require a creative power, according to Jung, thus building your personality. And there are two more important aspects regarding self-growth. First, Jung says that it is perfectly normal to have setbacks and relapses. You won't and can't reach your goal regarding self-growth in one try. No, you will have setbacks, but you will get up and continue. And if you do that, it will be a spiral process. You go forward and sometimes you feel like you didn't move at all, you arrived at the same bloody place. And yes, from one perspective, it's true. If you imagine a spiral from the top, it might seem that you didn't move at all. You arrived at the starting point. But if you see the spiral from the side, you can actually see that you moved forward, you moved up. That's how self-growth works. And finally, Jung says that this whole process, self-actualization, self-growth, is just not possible without a supporting environment, without people supporting you. There must be at least one person that supports you in this journey. Relationships are important. Well, that was some cringe motivational stuff, but it is all something that I believe in, and more importantly, something that one of the most renowned thinkers and psychologists, Jung, believed in. So in the end of this video, I would like to thank you for coming along with me in this journey of discovering Jung's theories and thoughts. I extremely enjoyed working on my last 3 videos. I admire Jung and I think it shows. If you enjoyed this video or these videos about Jung, consider subscribing and liking. And I'm so bad at this, sorry, it's just so hard to ask for subscriptions and likes and I don't know, and comments, but this is the way for me to continue working on my videos and continue doing what I love and what I really like, because I really like working on these videos. I really like editing, I really like talking to you guys, even though maybe it's just my mother. I know it's not, but you know, so please consider subscribing or don't, I don't know, it's hard, but you know why I'm doing this, so yeah, love yourself and bye. I won't cut that in.